All right, welcome back, Double Teamed fam. How are we doing? We brought Tia back on, fan fave. Say
Hello, hello.
I know, our fans love you. Every time we have episodes with you, they're like, we love Tia. No,
I love that. That makes me feel good.
How are you? How's life?
Good. I've been through a lot. There's a lot of transitions right now. January felt like it was like 69 plus days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
January
I would agree.
was brutal.
It was so brutal, especially for people in LA. It was just brutal.
It was a shit show. I mean, we can start on a more positive note before we get into like the
Today's a good day, okay? I'm very like a little bit more upbeat. I feel like clarity and motivated. It's a good day.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what's your sign again?
Aries.
That's why.
It's Aries new moon or something.
No.
Oh.
It was an Aquarius new moon. No, Venus just entered Aries.
Oh,
so
okay.
Venus is going to be transiting your sun sign. That's why, because so now you'll start feeling like more motivated, more like beautiful, more yourself. Like you'll have kind of a glow up. So it's nice when Venus is transiting your sign.
Oh, I'm feeling that. I am. I was like, ooh, I'm feeling good today.
Well, let me just preface that with saying, so it'll transit through Aries till March 1st.
Okay.
And then it'll retrograde in Aries, which is not a bad thing. Retrogrades are not bad. It's just a very self-reflective time. So like February, you might feel really good. And then March, you're probably going to be like, I'm going to take a minute to just like reflect on some things and sort this out. And then by like mid-April, it goes direct again. And so, yeah.
Okay.
Since our Venus, it's going through our first house. So
that
we will also feel that like glow up energy. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's our ascendant. It's our rising sign.
Nice.
So there's a little astro update.
Love it. I'm feeling it.
Okay.
Good.
No, I'm glad. As soon as you started saying that, I was like, well, we just had Aries or Venus move into Aries. I'm like, I wonder what her sign is. And then as soon as you said Aries, I was like,
and that's my moon sign too.
Oh, you're born
a
new moon baby. Oh, but she's opposite of us. We were born on a Libra new moon. So Libra sun, Libra moon. And you're Aries sun, Libra. Oh, so you're like complete opposite.
Aries, Leo. So I'm
with a Leo
fire.
rising?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so if you're a Leo rising, that means Aries is in your 9th house. Nice. I really love that. You should really, travel would be really good for you. Higher education, very expansive thinking. Non-monogamy is also very on board with the 9th house.
Oh, okay.
Because it's expansive thinking. So love that.
Ooh,
that's good.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Like it.
But you're like all fire. Then.
Yeah, I'm a lot of fire.
Yeah.
I know when I found that out that I'm a triple fire sign and that I'm Aries, and Leo and Aries are kind of similar. So I was like, oh, this is why I relate so much to my sign, my sun sign.
Yeah.
And like why I'm so fiery. Like when I tell people I'm a triple fire sign, they're like, oh.
What is your do you know what your Venus and Mars are in?
Yes. Those are the sex signs or the love and sex. Aquarius. So it makes sense.
They're both in Aquarius?
I'm the alien. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no wonder you're non-monogamous.
Yeah.
Okay. Mars in Aquarius is interesting. It's kinky. Mars in Aquarius is kinky.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was
so
kinky
out
right
of
away.
the box. Yeah, and so is Venus in Aquarius. That's Aquarius is a very kinky sign, and so is Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have all the sex and kinky signs are in your
Yeah. It makes sense. I remember like right as soon as I had sex, I already wanted to try a bunch of things. And I was just like, I just didn't even care. But I think the guys were like, whoa.
They're a little thrown off by it.
No, actually, I had like relationships and they were down to try things.
That's good.
But it was like first time I ever had sex and like the second time I wanted to like try things or like do it public or like
I'm
do
curious.
different kinkier things.
So knowing that like you're kinky and you are, someone, because like Aries and Leo also very passionate signs. Like they need a passionate relationship. Oh, yeah. So like what would you say when it comes to like sex or kink are 3 non-negotiables for you? Okay.
So really open sexually. They have to be open and to try different things.
Yeah.
I'm a shapeshifter in the erotic blueprint. So I like all the things all the time. I want to try them. And I'm more monogamish, but I do want someone that at least has the capacity to like explore or go to play parties or have threesomes. So open-minded.
Yeah.
So that's number 1. And yeah, they have to be okay with me being bisexual. Like I'll never just like completely get rid of that. It could even just be together or like at least making out. I don't know. Like that's a must. Let's see. Number 3.
Like, I know for me, like, if I had a dude that was like, I'll never pee on you, I would probably be really upset. Like, not that that's like totally a non-negotiable. And I mean, so my partner, lucky me, happens to love it. And another one, for a big one for me, like sexually, is like anal. And so those are 2 things that like off the bat, I was like, I like getting peed on and I love anal. And he was like, I'm down to do both. And I was like,
yeah.
Perfect. So, yeah.
What about you?
Like sex non-negotiables?
Yeah.
Maybe my third one will help you. So my third one is they have to have a high sex drive, or at least like close to mine.
Ooh, yeah,
because,
that's a big one for me too.
I realized that's a big one, because like at the beginning of your relationship, you have that spark and you have that. But for me, I need consistent sex throughout the year. Even if I'm going through something and I'm struggling, I still want sex.
Oh,
like,
for sure. Oh, my sex drive can sometimes get even higher when I'm stressed because that's my outlet.
Yeah, that's my outlet too. And I like having makeup sex. And some people don't.
I love makeup sex.
Yeah. Did you know some people don't?
How?
Yeah, some people don't.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I would say like for non-negotiables, that would be one for me for sure. It's like, and because I'm kind of the same way as you in the sense that like, I always want it, you know, like my boyfriend can just look at me a certain way, you know, maybe he's playing video games or reading a book and I just like, I want him immediately. Like
mine walks through the door and I'm like, let's go. And he's like, let me take off my shoes.
Yeah. So that's one of them. Another one is it has to feel really deep.
Wait, deep penetration or deep intimately?
No, energy.
And
energetically. Okay.
So the energy has to be really deep, which I have, you know, thankfully I have that with my boyfriend. Prior to that, I think I had what am I trying to say? I think I had only found it maybe a few times.
I get
so
that.
it's and I don't even know how to describe it because it's a very certain level of like depth.
Yeah.
But it, you know,
emotional connection.
Yeah,
intimacy.
Yeah, it's like emotional, but like, I don't know, it kind of like transcends that. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, it's just that.
Yeah.
A third one, I don't know.
I know it took me a second.
I don't know.
I'll have to think of my third one.
Okay.
But those were good ones. Those were good ones.
The other one that comes to mind for me would be just, I need a high level of touch and
affection and kissing.
And that's one thing that I love about my boyfriend is that because I'm just like, I am so like clingy and needy and, you know, like especially with physical touch, like I want it all the time. And he's exactly my cup of tea in that. Because like, you know, like we'll be, I don't know, grocery shopping or whatever. And he'll still like grab my boob. And like, I love that because like I want the physical touch. Like I want, you know, and he hugs me all the time. And yeah, so
I love that. That is one thing that my ex did really well that I want again. Like just kissy, cuddly, like huggy, like dance, have fun, touch. Yeah. That was
my
such
favorite
a new
thing that my boyfriend does is like, I don't know, I'll be like doing dishes or brushing my teeth and he'll come up behind me, pull my pants down and kiss my butt.
Oh, that's funny. I like it. It's kind of like a game. I like it.
Okay, so I had some questions about your recent updates.
Yeah.
I know. First of all, I guess for our listeners that don't know, so you were in a relationship for quite some time.
Yeah, we dated for a little over 2-ish years and we were official for about a year.
Yeah. That's a long time.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because time flies.
I went to that first play party at Jeff's. That was our first date and that was 3 of them ago. But it was like within 2-ish years. So it was like October 2023. Yeah, 22, 24. 23.
I don't know. Okay.
yeah, 22.
And so you met through play parties.
Yeah, we met.
So we've known you for 2 years.
We met at the play. Yeah, but we met very vaguely, and then I met you guys more at the second one or at like events, I think.
Okay. So you met at a play party, the play.
So, I mean, I think this is a great way to meet someone. We were at the play, and I had a date. And
with another guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
And there was a point that my date came up to Mo, and he was like, hey, could you spank her? He was like doing like spanking and flogging. And he was like, yes, I'm in the middle of something. You can wait. And I was like, yeah, he was very dominant. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And so I like sat down and waited. And then like when he was done, I like came up, and I think my memory is a little off a little bit, but I think my friend joined me. So it was both of us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she left at some point, but anyways, it was both of us. We're both a little pain sluts. I was very new to like flogging and BDSM and stuff, but I was like, I want to be a good girl. Like, I want to be good at this. That's like my Aries personality.
I love that.
And
I
so
also
like,
just remembered, I just remembered he's also a triple Sag, right?
he's a Sag Gemini something.
I know he's got a lot of Sag. Okay, he got
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, he
okay.
does.
So he was
So he was like doing it, and I remember it was like pretty intense. And at some point he brought out like the dragon tail.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like the whip?
Yeah.
That hurts.
Oh.
That
yeah.
fucking hurts.
But I'm a pain slut, and I think he got that energy of me, because I asked him about this later. I was like, what made you do this? Because he's very, very emotionally connected and he's very aware. So I was like, damn, like, I can't believe you went that high with me when you didn't really know me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you were just so fuck yes energy. Like, I felt it. But I liked it. But I didn't know. And so I'm laying on the, we finished. We probably just hugged or something. I didn't really know him. Later at the night, it was like the morning time, laying in this pillow room. And people are like, Tia, your ass. And I was like, what? So they took a picture. I still have this picture. There is huge, huge bruises, purple on my ass. They're like wild from the dragon tail. And I was like, oh, damn. And I was going to Cancun in like a week or two. And it like was there still. Yeah. So that was my story. Damn. We didn't hook up that night.
Yeah.
And
just did impact. Did you exchange numbers?
What happened?
Did one of you make a move?
He actually asked me if I wanted to play, and at that point, like, I didn't really like when people would ask that, because it instantly in my mind meant sex, and I want some foreplay before I decide.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so I was like, no. I think we like made out, and then he like played with somebody else, but then we set up a date, and then we did that Halloween date. So yeah,
love that. Okay,
yeah.
So you've been used to like the play party scene together, and when you started dating, you continued going to like play parties together pretty consistently.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and what did you feel like setting up rules and boundaries and stuff for play parties together? What did that look like in the beginning?
Oh, we were just casual the first year.
Okay.
Like, I think we both felt, we were both in a healing area, and we both didn't feel like we were compatible.
Oh.
In a relationship.
Okay.
And I don't think we were, because we weren't healed enough. And so we were just casually dating, but also having deep talks and hanging out and getting deep. But I remember there was a point we talked about it, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I could see a relationship with you, but I really like connecting with you. And so we deepened that way, and it built a really good foundation of friendship and connection and intimacy. And then there was like a change when we went to same but different. And then I was like, oh. And then everything after that was kind of like a lot more serious.
Same but different is a festival, right?
Festival, yeah.
Where do they host that?
Lake Paris.
Oh, okay. So it's in California.
It was really fun.
Okay.
So that was kind of like our anniversary-ish.
Okay. And then do you feel like once you actually made it like official or started dating that like the rules and boundaries for play parties changed?
Yeah, things were changing, but because we started so non-monogamous and I was trying to be that, like I need a little bit of monogamishness first and like hold space that has that connection and intimacy without competition of a lot of other women.
Yeah.
And so I think Mo noticed after some time, like I was trying to be okay with it.
Yeah.
So this is new for me. Like I know I need that now.
I was gonna say, because I remember in the last episode we recorded together, you said that you had sat down and talked to him about that because you realized that like that's what you needed. And did it ever go more monogamish after that?
Yeah. So we didn't, besides play parties, he stopped like doing his solo dates and like dating other women for quite a while, especially since I moved in. And so there was a lot of different rules, and we like would change based on timing. And yeah, so it did change a lot. And that taught me a lesson that I need that monogamous time,
Yeah.
monogamous time where you
Yeah.
can feel safe and secure and like not competing with other people, and you feel like you're building that foundation so you
100%.
then can explore. So I know I need that now.
Yeah.
That was difficult transition to get to that though.
Especially because you guys had probably spent over a year without kind of those
Yeah.
rules and restrictions. So
It
to
was
kind of like
so
tighten
weird.
things up a bit probably felt weird.
Yeah.
And I know he's been non-monogamous for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I met him when he was, single and,
Yeah.
at play parties and, doing everything. And
Mhm.
so.
That was
wow.
very different.
And how did he, how do you feel he responded or did with like the monogamish container? Like, do you think, like, did it feel too constricting? Did he voice if it made him feel any of those kind of
I
things?
think at times it did feel a little too constricting for
Yeah.
him because he's a lot more poly than I am. I'm not poly.
Okay.
And so I think he was challenging his beliefs like, am I poly? Am I not poly? Do I want these things? I want to feel safe and secure with her. I want her to feel safe and secure. So like, yeah, it was an exploration on both of our parts. And I think his escape, he like,
Mm.
I'm trying to be like, maybe some of his habits were difficult to change.
Yeah, I could see that. Well,
I want to
that's
ask what those were, but it sounds like you don't want to talk about it.
I want to keep things positive.
That's okay. I
Yeah.
get that, and that's
And
very
some
nice and
habits
respectful of you. Yeah.
Are difficult to change, and some habits you want to keep. So I think it was that like, are these habits I want to keep for him, or are these habits that he wants to change? And I think that was the hard part.
Well, at least, I mean, it sounds like at least the both of you got a lot of clarity out of the relationship where you realized, okay, I need that more monogamish beginning. And maybe he realized I'm actually more poly or more, open, and I can't quite,
Yeah.
give someone monogamish even in the beginning or swinging, whatever.
Yeah.
So I could, yeah, I mean, it sounds like I could see that like for the both of you, it's been a good way to grow. And I think, it'll help you and him also just call in what really feels like more aligned,
Yeah.
in the future, hopefully.
Yeah. No, I really think that. I think we learned so much. We
Yeah.
grew a lot. Like from the beginning of the relationship to now, I think we grew so much. I grew so much. Yeah. It's good. Relationships are just ways to grow.
Yeah. No, they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, they really are.
Okay, so now that you guys are transitioning, you're not dating anymore, like you're transitioning back to just friends, I assume. But I know you guys both run in the same circle and you have the same friends. Obviously, you met at a party where all of these same friends are friends that are going to continue to throw parties and such. And so what does it look like for you guys transitioning to a space where you're broken up, but friends and maybe still going to the same play parties?
Yeah, so this may be wild, and I almost want to share this like with my community once. I feel like I'm almost ready now, but we knew
This
since
won't air
like,
for a month, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We knew during Thanksgiving that we were gonna break
wow.
up. So like we mostly, for the most part, just acted like we were together. But we knew in the back of our minds that we were gonna break up. Why? Because we wanted to have a good friendship in the future. And we both fully loved each other and enjoyed our time together. So something that I've really, really ingrained in myself is I want to enjoy the moment. I could die tomorrow. So I really want to enjoy our love and our connection and our intimacy and these adventures and going to concerts. And then it wasn't until like, I would say January. Yeah. When like the end of December, when he went out of town for Christmas, that was when it was like, oh, we're fucking breaking up. This sucks.
Yeah.
And then like I processed a lot more.
Yeah.
And then January was like moving and transitioning, and like that's when like jealousy at play parties started happening, and like, oh, we're disconnecting, and like our intimacy sexually was definitely going through it. Not so much like intimacy like hugging, kissing, but yeah, it was like, oh, we're like breaking up, but we're still in like loving each other, and we're both crying and like being there for each other and trying to help each other with this transition. It was really hard.
Okay, so you said in Thanksgiving you both knew. How did y'all voice that to each other?
Oh, yeah. So,
I know that's a hard
yeah.
question. I guess I'm just,
Oh, there was a point.
Okay,
It's
let's hear it.
very.
There's always a point. That's
Yeah.
what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to figure out how to say. It's like, sometimes, like, I remember, when was it? But like my previous breakups were very like, it was a big monumental moment that ended it, like with my ex-fiance, I found out he cheated on me, and I got mad at him, and then we were having this big fight / discussion, and like there was just like a moment, like we just looked at each other, and he started like tearing up, and like I just knew, and I think he knew, and I was like, okay, like, come here, I'll give you a hug. And so like he hugged me, and like we both just kind of like knew that it was done.
Oh, yeah.
But then I think like we tried to make it work after that, but we both kind of knew,
Yeah,
So,
I think that's what a lot of couples do,
mm,
where they just are hurt and they want to like try, but you kind of know. Yeah, I've done that in the past. But it was Thanksgiving, and he'd already made plans to go see his family. And I didn't really say anything because a part of me was in the back of my mind, like, we talked about how, like, I want kids. We'd gotten more specific of timing for me. And so, like, in the back of his mind, he's thinking, oh, we're going up this fast relationship escalator. Like, I met the family. I went to trips with them. I fully met them, hung out with them. And so I think his family was even like, oh, so are you going to marry this girl? Are you going to have kids? Da, 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 da. And then so honestly, I think after that, the pressure was on more. And then he booked his trip, and I was like, it came out when we were hanging out with other people, which I'm sorry. That was my.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Like, because they were like, oh, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? And my frustration came out that I'd been holding in. And I was like, oh, yeah, Mo's going to his family's. And they were like, oh, what are you doing? And I think the way I said it, I was like, yeah, I'm staying here. Like, just very like, I don't remember quite what I said, but I know it was like obvious a little bit.
Yeah.
And so he didn't appreciate that. And then he was like, oh, dang, like, I'm sorry I didn't invite you. And I was like, yeah, but it was so off. He's like, I can invite you. I can change my ticket. And I was like, no. Yeah. So like the energy was really off. I love your guys' reactions. And so that's how I felt too. I was like, it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And then so I think there was like a data process, and then we fully talked about it. And like we talked about like the future and the relationship escalator and the family, and like it was like a big thing. And then I don't know how soon after that, but then we had the talk about like, oh, you want different things. Like he really liked the growing and having a relationship. And now he's like, oh, I'm getting closer and closer to this woman, but it's going to end. So that's when I was proud of him. He decided, because I knew these things for a while, but I was like really enjoying the relationship. So I didn't want to end.
Yeah.
And that's my own shit.
I mean, that's a hard thing.
He decided to, yeah, this is sad. But I was proud of him. I was like, oh, you want a relationship, and now you like want this with someone that's going to last. Like, cool, good for you. Like, I was proud of him, and I like, yeah. Don't make me cry. Don't look at your face.
No. Okay, I think that's the hard thing about, when you fall for someone and you know that it's not right.
Yeah.
And this is a really poor example that my fans would probably yell at me for. But you know what? I remember when I met Neighbor.
Yeah.
I knew. I just knew. I was like, this will never work. Never. There, not an ounce. But I just dove in.
I think that you might have felt safe in that.
Maybe.
Because you're like, I know it will end. I did that for so long.
And here's the thing, and but no, you're right. I think, and that's a pattern that I had is
same,
because especially if you are like, I don't know, an anxious girly with some wounds. It's like if you know how it's gonna end.
Yep.
then you know.
Yep. Doesn't
You-
make it hurt.
No, it
less,
doesn't. No, no,
but
it still
we
fucking sucks.
do it.
But you know, it
Yeah.
definitely, and I think that's one of the reasons why it scares. Sometimes it scares me so much being with my boyfriend now because it's like, I don't know the ending.
Yeah.
Because this feels like a world of opportunity, you know? So then it's like, I look at that sometimes and I'm like, oh, my body doesn't know what that feels like. My body's used to like, that dude's not good for you. Let's go, you know?
Yep.
So
I just want to say for anyone that's looking for a dating app, if you're looking to hop back on the dating apps, I know so many people in the, you know, kinky and non-monogamous space who religiously use Field because I think it is such a great app for people that are more open-minded, people that are kind of looking to like really connect. I remember so many of the play parties, the couple that hosted them, every single time I'm like, oh, where did you meet this couple? Where did you meet this couple? You know, Every single time it was like Field.
also, I'm just now reading this. They have a new constellation feature, which lets you link your profiles to your other boos so that when you and your boo are out there on Field searching for magic in the air, the constellation already links you.
It's giving polycule.
It is giving polycule, actually, now that I think about it. And guys, if you want to try out Field for yourself, download it on Google Play or the Apple Store. Anyways, keep going.
No, that's such a good thing. And it's hard to get to that point. Like, I'm scared because I'm going to be dating differently now.
Oh, for sure.
Like-
Because do you think you're going to be dating more for intention, like someone that wants?
So intentional.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go on a second date unless it's a fuck yes to kids. Not a maybe, not a yes, a fuck yes.
You know, I'm glad that you've realized that for yourself because I was actually having a conversation with a friend of mine who also, like, he has kind of a situationship going with like a girl and they have a similar problem where like really love each other, but like she wants kids, he doesn't. And
Yeah.
I'm like, if it's not a fuck yes when it comes to children, then it's a fuck no.
Yeah. And then you're just wasting the woman's time and we
Or
are on
the-
a fucking
whoever.
clock.
But they're
Yeah.
both so cute together.
I know,
Yeah.
exactly. No, but so I think it's great that you know that. And like, I remember, you know, it's funny because I was actually telling my boyfriend a little bit about the situation when we were before, because we were talking before we walked into this recording. And I just remember like, you know, when him and I first started dating, I was like, I don't want kids. And he was
Yeah.
like, well, I do. So this isn't going to go anywhere. And then I don't know what it was, but something, as soon as he said that, I just realized I was like, hold on a second. I'm like, it's a fuck yes to him. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just like sit with this for a moment, the whole like kids thing. And then it became like a fuck yes. And he just kind of like really awakened something in me when it comes to children. And I never believe people and they're like, oh, you might meet someone that like, you know, I was always like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then I met someone that did change that for me. But I'm so glad that like, A, he like voiced that to me, but B, that like for me, it didn't feel like a, like, oh, I might come around to this. Let's just see if it works out. Like it was like such an immediate fuck yes to him. And then the like picture of like the future of like, you know, kids and stuff with him like became so clear that I'm like, oh, it's a fuck yes to that too.
Yay.
So it was but yeah, I think that's like one thing, you know, when it doesn't matter if it's 2 dates in. If you have any sort of inkling that you might like this person and be with them long term, you need to understand.
Start asking all the questions.
Yeah. So
Oh
when it
yeah,
comes
I'm
to
starting like ASAP. Yeah.
marriage, children, and I don't know what the third one would be.
Open sexually.
Yeah, all
That's
of those
an
like
important one.
yeah, is it a no or is it a yes? And you both need to be yes on all.
Yeah, and honestly, that's why the breakup was so hard. Is
Yeah.
because I guess I'm gonna try to keep this like I don't want to cry. So
You can cry if you want to.
So
I'm earing your eyes out so that they
Yeah.
stay dry.
If you cry, it's okay.
yeah, he broke up with me one morning, and it was like out of the blue
Oh.
ish, and
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? And like he was not being vulnerable. He was not sharing the full reason, and it just felt like, wait, what? And I remember I was like, okay, I told you guys this tip. I do the opposite of what I normally would do.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of like getting tit for tat or, you know, mean back, I just kept being more vulnerable. Oh, okay. So I was like, we got out of the bedroom after we had the talk, and I was like, Mo, like, can you like tell me what's really going on? like, you're the, oh, this is going to be hard to say. I was like, you're the best boyfriend I ever had.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know it sounds like it was a really great relationship. You need a hand. It's okay.
So I was like being vulnerable. And
It's okay.
I know, I'm like, okay. Mo helped me cry. He helped me
It's
learn
good
that
to cry.
it's okay to cry.
You have to cry. When this
Okay.
comes
Sometimes you just let the tears
you
go.
gotta let it out.
I know.
Yeah. Let them
But
fall.
I feel like this was a good moment because I kept being vulnerable and I was like, you're the best relationship I've ever had. And that's when we had a breakdown in the kitchen. And he was like, you are too. I've been trying to want kids. I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
And so I was like, oh, like, I didn't know this. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know he was like trying to want them or like trying to like
Come around to the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, you're the only person that made me like think of this and like trying to want it. And like, he's like, I just really don't. And
Yeah.
like, I don't want to waste your time. And like, I know that you do. And I was like, oh, wow. So then we had like a really like loving, crying, beautiful moment and like embraced and hugged. And so I was like, okay, I get it. And it's okay. And we can break up and we can like figure our way out. But that was like, oh,
That's a touching moment for sure.
yeah.
Because it is nice when, especially when two people come together and maybe there's like one big difference that like, it means that they can't, but the other person wants to try. Like,
Yeah.
obviously that goes to show that he had a lot of love, has
Yeah.
a lot of love and care for you.
Yeah,
And
so
it's
that
hard.
made me feel good and it made me feel like, it's just, yeah, we loved each other and we have so much fun. And so this transition is hard, but we're both committed to being friends in the future. And so now I'm finally cutting off contact right now.
Are you doing
Because-
30 days?
Well,
Or I think what is it supposed to be? 30 or
30,
after
60.
I think after a breakup it's supposed to be like 60 to 90.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna do at least 30 at some point. And yeah, I asked him, I was like, can we like have a transition month where we're like there for each other and supporting each other? But I was doing a little too much. I was like still helping him sell his furniture and like trying to like be supportive, and like I knew that he was feeling bad, so I like wanted to support him. And then honestly, I think a little bit of self-sabotage kicked in on one of the ends, and yeah, it really hurt my feelings. So I just cut contact. I told him. But
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I don't want to see or hear from you for a while now. I didn't set a time, but yeah.
I want to say real quick, how you said earlier that you were proud of him for, kind of that moment of realization that he had or whatever. I just want to say very proud of both of you for that kind of like vulnerability and, that you were able to share with each other and just, showing like how much you care and tried, but like realizing that like even though there is a lot of love, that it won't be able to continue forward. Like I think that takes a lot of strength. And it does sound like a very touching moment, and you both should be proud of yourselves for like the amount of like of yourselves that you like put into this relationship and everything that came from it. But anyway, so I just want to say that you should be proud.
Yeah,
But no, that's hard. And I think no contact is good. And I know like we had talked about it on your pod, like, consider, especially because you guys do have the same friend groups and like, probably play parties it would be really hard walking into a play party and all of a sudden you look and on a couch is your ex with some random person.
Yeah.
I would break down, so
yeah, it's different when you're broken up. Like E&M breaking up is weird.
Exactly. So
weird.
At some point, if you do go back to contact, like I think you guys need to figure out what to do at play parties.
Yeah.
So that you're not running into each other and like causing a lot of pain, because that could be a really tricky situation.
Yeah, pray for me for Valentine's Day, because we're supposed to see each other. It was going to be 2 or 3 times and now it's 2. Because
Okay.
I said let's alternate for one of the 2 parties.
That's good.
So we're going to alternate on that. And then the kinky comedy show, like I help and I want to go and I want to go with my friends. And I think we'll both be busy. So I think I can be separate and it's just like going to a show. So we'll see how that goes. But then there's like an after party and I'm thinking I'll just like go hang out for a bit and maybe leave before it's like playtime or something.
Okay.
Because it is a smaller location. So I'm like, I can like, okay, I'm going to leave if, I get my feelings.
Yeah. I would just remember, like, try not to put yourself in any situations where you could just expose yourself to unnecessary pain.
Yeah.
You know, like if you don't need to go to the after party, maybe don't.
Maybe
But
I won't.
but live your life. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't. I mean, I'm very prepared to cancel if I need to
Nice. Okay.
and not go.
And I think you should. I think y'all should be like agree upon like, okay, I'll go to these, you go to these. That way,
Yeah.
because you both still want to be a part of it, but like,
Yeah,
oh,
this
that's
one may be
tricky.
one to not go. I don't know. It could be the alternating
Mm-hmm.
because there is that one that weekend and I really want to go. So I asked him like, can you not go?
Yeah.
Because this one I really want to.
And do you feel like he was
Yeah.
like,
And then
respected
he
that?
gets to go to the following weekend.
Okay.
So like it's kind of even on those two parties. They're at the same house.
Okay. There you
split
go.
custody of the parties. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we can work it out. But yeah, my like masochism in me is like, oh yeah, I can just go and I'll be fine. No, I probably
No.
won't.
No, don't.
No, you don't need that kind of exposure therapy just yet. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, this week killed me. But yeah, I've learned quickly.
you know, Cammie and I try to avoid each other at play parties like the plague. And people were really good about like, if you just tell them like, hey, I don't want to run
Warn
into
me.
Cammie at a room, will you warn me? So like almost any time I was about to go into a room, if Cammie was in there, like I'm not kidding, 3 people would be like, Cammie's in there, don't go. You know, so like it was and I love that about the group, you know, that friend group and everything is that like everyone's so good about being cognizant of like people's, you know, boundaries and such and or like, you know, kind of tricky dynamics and things like that. So and I think everyone wants to play Switzerland too. So
Yeah. For the
so
most
I think
part,
if you were just like, hey, you know, just let me know if he's in there, like and I won't go in that room, I think people would really help out with that.
Yeah. One of our friends was like, why don't you guys claim a room? Like if it's a bigger room, you can claim like 2 rooms and he gets the big room.
Yeah.
And we only play in those. I was like, oh, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea too.
That actually
yeah.
is, yeah.
That's actually
I was
why
like,
didn't we
oh.
do that?
Yeah.
I
so
don't
was
know.
like,
We
you
don't
know
have to
what?
worry
That's
about
good.
it anymore, though. So.
No,
Yeah.
but I'm like back then I'm like, man, we should have really thought about that. But
Hey, I didn't either. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Okay.
that is really good. And then I know
Yeah.
you said that you had like people on each side that were like no's for you. Cause I could
Yeah.
understand that like, especially if it's like a close friend.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Ooh, I kind of want to hear what you guys think about this. I'm like, should I ask it on the pod or after the
Let's
pod?
hear it. Let's
Okay,
hear
let's
it.
We
see.
can always bleep it or cut it out if
Okay,
you don't like it.
so one of the girls that he was seeing had sex with the play party and then we played together.
Okay.
So
So you met her through him.
yes,
Do we
okay.
know her?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Actually, so yeah, it wasn't my friend first, but then recently she's been trying to like befriend me, and like we went to a play party together at the same play party and hung
Okay.
out, and then she actually even asked me on like a date with another guy this week.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, this is a little too soon for me.
Yeah.
But it was also kind of weird, but like I wanted to be friends with her. So I was like, oh, okay. But then I was hanging out with Mo. We like hung out that day. I was like being helpful and like took him to TJ Maxx. But then I was like, oh, do you want to eat? And he was like, oh, I can't. I'm having someone over.
It was her?
Yeah. And I was like, wait, who? Like, we don't lie to each other. We've never lied. So,
Yeah.
like, she's coming over for a sex play date 4 days after we moved out. So the breakup hit. And I was like, wait, why did we first hang out? Like, why did we hang out? Like, you could have said no.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to come out. For me, I think ahead.
Yeah.
If I'm hanging out with my ex-boyfriend before I go on a play date, it's going to come out. End
Yeah.
of story. I will have his back on it wasn't intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I know it for a fact it wasn't intentional. But now the girl's trying to befriend me. And I'm like,
It's giving sus. Like I would
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't trust her right now.
I don't trust
so.
her. I don't even know her and I'm like, I wouldn't trust the
No,
thing about it.
I think you need to tell her like, hey, look, we're going through a breakup. Choose one of us. Be like, look, if you want to hang out with him,
Yeah.
totally fine, but keep me out of the picture because I can't do that right now.
yeah.
And I know that might be hard to say, but literally like you can't for her to try to be fucking him while befriending you makes no sense to me.
I know. I was like, what? Does she not think I have feelings?
Has she been in the non-monogamous space?
I don't know how long.
Because I feel
she
like
goes
if
to play
someone
parties and stuff, but I was just like, I had to cancel on the date. I was like, hey, like, I'm not feeling this. And I even like hinted like, I'm feeling very, really tender right now.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, girl, I'm here for you. And I'm like,
no, she's not.
No,
she's
that
not.
doesn't sound like she's here. It sounds like she's trying to
I don't even
I don't
know.
hurt you.
It
I don't
sounds
know.
like
It felt really, I was just like,
it feels disingenuous.
Yeah,
so-
that's my vibe. Is just it does not feel genuine at all.
right?
And I'm
Like, how does
sorry,
that
but, like-
feel? Yeah, I don't know how anybody thinks that that's okay. But I'm
Because-
not shit talking. Nobody knows who this is, but
Well, I'm just saying, like,
I don't
if
even know who it is.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, in this scenario of like, if I knew a couple was breaking up, I wouldn't be like trying to do both of them at the same time. Like,
yeah,
why the
Yeah.
fuck
literally
would you
do both
that?
of us.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yes, we've been doing that. Oh, and also that was the last person I had sex with her and him. So like, I just like, it just like, and I was
I don't
like-
know what her
I
game
think you
is,
need
but I
to
don't trust
ghost
it.
her. Just ghost her.
yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, I
Block.
did. I did.
Good.
Because I was like, yeah, I don't feel
But if I were,
But I'm gonna see her this weekend, so I will
And
say.
you should
I think
say
in person.
something.
No, in
You're
person.
an Aries. Sorry.
Yeah, in person, I will definitely say something like, "Hey, just don't feel comfortable. Like you're seeing my ex, so I need some distance from you right now."
yeah,
I think you need to word it as in, hey, I don't feel comfortable you seeing my ex and pursuing me while he and I are going through this transitional breakup in which you probably know, as I've said before, I am feeling tender.
yeah.
And I just don't know where your
Intentions?
intentions are at, and I just can't trust them right now. If you can please respect that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
That was
So
great.
I'll go back to this episode and I'll write that down. Yep.
Well, okay.
Okay,
Now
so I
wanna
asked
know who
that
this
publicly,
is.
but
yeah.
that is what hit me.
Yeah.
Like when that happened, I was like, okay, Mo, I'm done. Like
that would hit me too.
I was like, we can't be friends. And I'm not trying to like villainize
that
him
was
or
the moment,
anything. Yeah. it
But
was like,
your
I'm
feelings were
done.
hurt, and you're validating that for yourself.
I do want to say something though that I've kind of noticed you talking about that I'm like,
What?
I don't want to call you out.
No,
on
call
it,
me
'cause
out.
You know how much I love you.
Call me out.
But you do not need to be helpful during a breakup.
Oh, I know. I was being too helpful.
Oh, yeah.
He
no,
is a grown ass
Stop
man.
it, Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
take care of
know.
you.
No, so I'm glad this kind of happened. Not gonna lie.
Really?
Because it needed to sever that.
yeah.
I even caught myself almost trying to help more, and I was like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
No.
What is wrong with
He's a
me?
grown man.
I don't know.
He doesn't need your help. You got
Yeah.
it. He's fine.
He's got to figure it out.
Yeah.
He's moved before.
Yeah.
Okay, like
I
Yeah.
can relate to that though because when I was going through my divorce with my ex-husband, it was like
you did everything.
Yeah, I suddenly felt
was
so like
pissed.
territorial over it, and I was
Yeah.
like, I need to like make sure that, and I put his needs first, so much so that like I totally like forgot that like I was actually the one completely crumbling.
Yeah.
And sometimes I look back on that and I was like, I should have like stood my ground a little bit
Yeah.
more.
That's a defense
So-
mechanism.
It
and
is, yeah.
avoidant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Are
I
you
am
avoidant?
No.
Oh.
I used to be anxious. I'm pretty secure now, but I think my underlying is anxious. So I am glad that it happened because it did cut it off sooner. There was a tip that my friend told me yesterday. She was like, okay, this is a little graphic, but she was like, you know, the dogs that they cut the tails off
Mm-hmm.
when they're a puppy? They just cut them off and then let them heal. They don't cut a little bit off, let it heal, and then cut more off, and then let it heal, and then cut more off. She's like, you gotta just cut it off and let it heal. And it's like a visual that you're like, oh. And
It's not the best visual, but
Yeah,
I totally get what
Yeah,
you're saying.
I don't
Yeah.
like that visual.
but yeah, you just gotta cut off a communication. And I think I was dragging it out, thinking, oh, I'll be like, we'll help each other through February.
Mhm.
And then like March, no. So it was kind of helpful. So thank you, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like now you're really just going to call in what you want so much quicker. Just
Mhm.
Do you want to get married?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That was a fuck yeah.
No,
Yeah.
and that's good. That's good. You know that's a fuck yes
Yeah.
for you. And that's what I'm saying is that like I feel, you know, before I met my partner, I went through a very similar phase where all of a sudden I was just like kind of really starting to get a lot of clarity on the fuck yeses and the fuck nos. And then when I met him, then all of a sudden it just kind of like all clicked into place. And so I think like the clearer that you get, the more you will attract what you want in your life. So, because if you're sitting there like, well, I don't know, maybe like I'll just wait for someone to come in and tell me if that's what I want or not. No, because then you're just going to let someone else run the show. And then halfway through, you're going to be like, oh, wait, this isn't what I wanted.
Exactly.
So it's like, you gotta be the one to like really get to know yourself and understand that so much to the point that when someone comes in, you can be like, yep, I'm in.
Yeah. And I used to live and date in a way that I was like, oh yeah, you just like meet them and then like it organically grows. Like that's how you do it. You can't be too pushy. You have to be cool. Yeah, that's what really got me hurt a lot of times.
That's not Aries of you.
No,
Interesting.
No. You have to be direct.
But now I'm like very direct, and I think I was just afraid of.
Yeah,
it was
being
that
direct.
Like. Yeah, I was afraid of that like partnership, and I was afraid for sure.
I'll say this, because you knew what I was going through last year with everything. And and I remember I was on a call with you one time and you were like, okay, well, write down like your 10 non-negotiables. And not in like sex, but just like in a person.
Yeah.
And I remember I got on my phone, I wrote 1 through 10, and then I filled the first 3. And then I was like, well, fuck, what else do I want? But then I kind of just left that note alone.
Yeah.
And then I started getting really, really clear on like what I wanted. I'm like, I remember, what was it, like a few years ago, first psychic I went to, she was like doing a reading for me. I had kind of like lost faith in marriage after like my ending with my ex-fiance. And then at one point, I was like, well, am I ever getting married? She was like, do you want marriage? And I like hesitated, and she goes, yes, you do. Like, just like, but that I was just like, and she goes, yeah, okay. Yeah. And so, and then from there, like, I stopped for a second and I was like, and I thought about it and I was like, no, I do want marriage. Like as much as we talk about like not checking off that, the cookie cutter checklist, like I do want those things. Anyways, so I got clear on that. And then I remember I wrote down those 3 non-negotiables, and just through time, like,
yeah, it takes time.
No, it took like a few months. I was like, I was starting to like really piece together, like, okay, what I want in a person. And I would like, I was very, I wasn't going on a lot of dates. I was really not afraid of that, but I just like knew, I would go on a date and I'd be like, okay, that's not what I want. Yeah. And like, it was just this feeling. And then finally when I met my boyfriend, like I had this idea of who I wanted, and he checked off every box. And then I remember, what was it? It was like a few weeks later, I came across that list that I had started making when I was on the phone with you. And he just embodied those 3 that I wrote like perfectly. And I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, there's been several times I wrote down what I wanted specifically. And it wasn't like a list. It was more like, ooh, he's this and this. He makes me feel this way. He's like this. And then it comes true. Like I wrote them into existence. And Mo was also one of those people.
Aww.
Like he was. It was like fun, because what my relationship before was missing was that fun, like loving, like partner, like real relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend. And so I got all that. So it just kind of keeps getting closer. But yeah, writing those things and getting clear is super helpful. And also marriage is sometimes hard for me to admit, but it just came out very clearly. I don't know why. It's like, the white picket fence and but I would like that. I would like a partnership, and I would like marriage. It's not like I have to, I guess, but I like want that like partnership. We're together. So I guess marriage, like, I don't know.
I think it is weird in the sense that like, well, especially like if you're in the non-monogamy community, you can just kind of see like all the different ways you can be partnered. And what was it? My train of thought derailed. But basically what I was trying to say is I just remember at one point I like stopped looking. Marriage is like a bad word.
Yeah.
Or I don't, not a bad word, but just like a whatever. Anyways, and I realized I was like, because I have a very lifelong partner dynamic with my twin, in which,
we call it a marriage. Yeah.
It's a really deep, strong bond that has gone through a lot of tests. But that's like in a very platonic, familial way.
Mhm.
And I'm like, and then when I think about it, I'm like, wow, I really want to build that with a romantic partner.
Yeah.
And like, so for me, like, maybe this is like super traditional thinking, but like, I love what you and I have built. And I want to find that in a man that, in a romantic partner where like we have children and it is just as raw as it is with you and I.
I was going to, like when you say that, I remember, and I told this to my partner, is I want him, our relationship, to mean as much as our relationship. Like I want to love him, not more, but like pretty much like in the same way that I love you, just because we have so much longevity and depth and all of that. And so, but
I want to be married to someone for 50 years. You know,
Yeah.
like I
Same.
want with my boyfriend now. Like that's what I see him as, like that person. It's like, okay, it's you. Like 50 years, let's go. 60, whatever, however long we live.
Yeah.
Basically. So
Same.
Cute. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And I do want to fucking party. Like I want to party.
Yep.
to
You can still do
celebrate
that.
it.
You can still do that when
And I'm not like rushing to marriage. Like I almost am fine. I know this is probably taboo for like small towns and small cities, but I wouldn't mind having a kid first. Like
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't either. But
Yeah.
my boyfriend, his parents are traditional. He's like, we got to do it the other way around. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Which is okay,
That's
but
fine.
I'm just like open to that. I don't know, because I'm scared of timing, and
I told my boyfriend the same thing though. I was like, I honestly I was like, the marriage part feels like semantics. I'm like, it's the kid that I want more.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
This conversation kind of reminds me, like, because after I got divorced, like I never wanted.
I know
marriage.
you were on my podcast
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah, I didn't want marriage for a very long time. And divorce, especially, like it breaks you in a way that like, you're kind of left picking up the pieces. But I always say like you meet people along the way that like give you back the pieces. And somewhere along the way, someone like did give me back the piece of like wanting to, commit to someone long term again. But then I also I spent some time reflecting on the fact that like I kind of always wrote off children and a family just because like our family dynamic growing up has just been kind of strained. And we've never really had kind of a very like familial unit to really, never really had like an example of that. Like our family dynamics have always felt very broken. And
I want one that isn't.
I know. Well, and
Yeah,
so for example, when I
same.
went to go like spend time with my, boyfriend's family and whatnot, and like I had already known that I like really wanted children with him, but like after seeing his family, I feel like he has been the one person that has like given me like the piece of like the part of me that wants a family. I feel like I blocked it out for so long.
Yeah.
And then like he kind of came in and gave me that. And so it's just like, people come into your life and kind of contribute all kinds of things. And like for this piece, I'm like really grateful. And so I don't know, for you, like especially going through all of this, like I know it's very hard, especially since there seems to be like a lot of love, but I feel like you're getting like the pieces to like really put together like the best puzzle.
And there's also excitement. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I love my new place. I
Good.
feel like I got my power back, just like that
That's good.
solo single power.
Mhm.
Like, I do feel like you also have a power couple, energy. But like, being alone, I am
You can still be powerful.
like fast and like just
Yeah.
no distractions.
The Aries in you is awakening.
I'm just like, dude, let's do
One
it.
thing I'm trying to learn is how to be as confident in myself, like in a relationship, like not letting my fears get in the way, as confident as I am, like single. Because I think single, it's like no one can hurt me, so I'm more so I'm more confident.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to transition that over.
Yeah. Could you ask yourself, like, what would my best self do? What would my single self do?
Well,
Oh, that's a good question. I like that.
Well, that's what I do to myself.
Yeah.
I'll be like, what would my most confident self do in this moment?
I
And
love
then I
that.
do that. So, like, your single self. And, like, kind of practice
Tap in.
that.
Yeah, tap into her and be like, what would she do?
higher self, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, I love it.
I do that all the time. It'll be with text messages. It'll be with, like, just going out. Like, oh, what would I do if I'm feeling myself? Okay, go do that.
Well, like I said, I think you're going to really be able to call in what you want now. And I know that this is a tough time, but I think you're just...
It'll be okay.
Yeah, you're going to be more than okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Take advantage of that.
Time
Venus
takes
and
you
Aries.
with it, is what I always say.
Yeah. Okay, so for anyone that wants to find you, where can they find you? Plug yourself.
Yeah, find me on my podcast, Sexy Biz Babe. I'm on Instagram, Sexy Biz Babe, or Sexy Biz Babe Podcast, whichever you want. One of them's my personal. And yeah, I'm active on Instagram mostly and my podcast.
Perfect. And we're actually on your pod. I don't know when that episode airs. This one will air in a few weeks.
Okay.
So I'll let you know for sure. But yeah.
Yeah, I will
forward to it. That was a good episode too. Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah, go watch both. And if you ever want to work with me one-on-one, it's levelupwithtia.com. And I do coaching. So I would love to talk to you.
Perfect.
Okay.
There you go, guys. Y'all know where to find us at Double Team Podcast, at Kimmy and Nikki on Instagram. You can also just do at Double Team Podcast on TikTok or doubleteampodcast.com. All relevant links are there. Wear condoms.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Oh, also my course.
Oh.
Link below.
Yeah.